It's another edition of the Loaded Radio podcast, and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. It is Scott Penfold here with you, and a great one this week, man. I'm going to be talking with SPIRITBOX guitarist Mike Stringer, and I've been waiting to get these guys on for quite a while now, so it's great that I was actually able to finally get Mike on the podcast this week. Now, of course, before starting SPIRITBOX back in 2016, Mike was a part of the band I Wrestled a Bear Once with Courtney LaPlante, who is now his wife, and of course his bandmate as well in SPIRITBOX. Now, as a duo, they released a self-titled EP in October of 2017. They were joined by bassist Bill Crook in 2018, and then drummer Zev Rose joined in 2020. They have the new album called Eternal Blue coming out September 17th, and it's been a long time coming, man. So we'll talk to Mike in just a second as well. In the second portion of the podcast, as usual, we'll be joined by Loaded Radio's Johnny Rude, live from Las Vegas, Nevada, as Johnny just hit the first official rock concert to happen at the new Allegiant Stadium down there in Las Vegas. It was Guns N' Roses. We'll talk about that, and as well, we'll go over the week that was in hard rock and metal. So if you dig, stick around for that. After we talk to this guy here, phenomenal guitar player, a wicked seven-stringer. He's the co-founder and guitar player for the band SPIRITBOX. Mike, thanks so much for joining me on Loaded Radio this week.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
I'm good, thanks, man. I really appreciate hanging out for the podcast. So excited for the debut album. I mean, it must be somewhat overwhelming for you.
A little bit, yeah. It's crazy to think that we've been sitting on so much of this material for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. So yeah, mixed feelings. Really excited, but also just kind of ready to birth this baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you recorded this. What was it, back in March that it was done?
Yeah, we started the official recording process in February. But we've been demoing and writing for the past like close to 2 years now. So, but it's kind of been a blur, like we spent a month in the desert recording it, and we just lived it day in, day out. So yeah, it's just wild. The whole thing's crazy.
Wow. Well, but before we get into the band, I want to go back into a little bit of your history, Mike. Just going back to 2015, you were playing with I Wrestled a Bear Once. How did you get involved with that band? And is that where you met Courtney as well?
So yeah, that whole thing's wild to think about now. It seems like a different lifetime ago, but yeah. So I've known Courtney since 2008. We've grown up together playing in bands, and in 2012, I was playing in her local band here, and she just out of the blue got a call from the I Wrestled a Bear Once management, and it was in the middle of summer, and they basically said, hey, we've lost our singer, and we found your band on YouTube. Would you be willing to come out and fly out tonight to fill in for the rest of Warped Tour? Mm-hmm. And long story short, she ended up joining. She did a world tour, and we were dating at the time, and I would go and visit her on tour, and that's how I got to know those guys. Right. And after about a year of just being the visitor, they lost their guitar player, and I jumped in and filled that role for the remaining time of that band. So
what happened there? Like, did things just not work out? Did you just eventually feel like it wasn't working for you?
It's just one of those things where, like, at the end of the day, when everything kind of finished, there weren't any original members playing the songs anymore. Right. Like, we were on tour playing songs that were written in 2008 or even 2007. And, it just, we kind of looked around and we were like, man, I don't know. And the one original member that was still a part of the band wasn't touring with us anymore. He had an incredible opportunity to do stage management for a really, really big EDM artist. So he was living it up, and rightfully so. We didn't want to take away from his job. Sure. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, we can rather continue on with this project and kind of just keep playing music that, we're not even really fully dedicated to at the end of the day. Cause we wanted to shift in our creative aspect of the band too, but we couldn't because, I Wrestled a Bear Once already had such a vast back catalog and expectation and everything. So sure. Yeah, the four of us that were touring at that time decided to call it a day because it just didn't make us feel good anymore. And that's when SPIRITBOX started. So as soon as that last tour in December 2015, me and Courtney came home and started writing for the first SPIRITBOX record. So,
well, you guys released a self-titled EP in October 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Now, at that point when you guys were recording that, was there any sort of plan as the direction or formation of SpiritBox as a whole, or was it just sort of like a project to keep you busy or something to do together? What was that?
You know what? It was definitely unconventional from the start. Like, we started that project writing music that we were trying not to put a label on. We just wanted to write the music that we thought was catchy and that we really wanted to make and hear ourselves. And the strategy was always like, let's just try and build an audience. So we spent almost a full year and a half writing, recording, and pitching and getting the whole project ready. And so we put it out in October 2017. Not sure, we weren't sure what to expect, but when we put it out, it was kind of like, okay, well, there's not a large following yet, but there seems to be people that really enjoy this. So let's just keep building the momentum online. Let's just keep pushing it and see what happens. And that's pretty much stayed the same ever since we released that first record. The mentality of the band was just build a demand and try to connect with people and try to, get this thing rolling. So that way, when we do decide to go tour and we do decide to go and do this for real, there will actually be people in the audience as opposed to trying to do that on the road,
Certainly. Well, I mean, you've made some additions of Bill and Zev to the band. How did those guys get the gigs? How did you know those guys?
So Bill is someone that we've known for a very, very long time. Same situation. I met Bill in 2008. He is kind of like a Canadian metalcore or just music royalty guy where like everybody knows him, like it doesn't matter where you go in the world. There's just, or if you're, let's say you're in trouble with Bill and you've popped a tire on the side of the road in Arkansas, he would call 3 people that were local to the area to come help us,
That's a good guy to know, man.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, so pretty much we put the record out in 2017, and before we had put it out, we had sent it to a few friends, and he was one of them because we have great admiration for him and his taste in music and everything, and we wanted to know what he thought about it. And he didn't get back to us for a few days, and pretty much we were like, he probably doesn't like it, whatever, no big deal. And after about a week, we hit him back and we're like, so what'd you think? And he ended up sending us like a Lord of the Rings length novel of how much he loved it and a review and everything. And at the end of it, he was like, by the way, I'm going to be in your band. So, as fate would have it, we got in a room together in 2018, February 2018, I believe. And he's been involved ever since, and he's been our bass player since then. And pretty wild.
Yeah. How about Zev Rose?
Zev is kind of the polar opposite of that. So it's wild because, like we had plans of really spending a lot of time together and all that, and it got cut short. But basically, before we accepted the first tour that we ever did, we did a Europe tour with After the Burial in March 2020, which you can obviously tell where this is going. But I met him on Instagram. I followed him on Instagram, and we really needed a drummer for the tour. And I was put in a pretty tight spot where I was like, I need to find someone that's willing to do it. And I had a list of about 10 people that I thought would fit the role. He was on the top of it, and I also didn't know how old he was either. Yeah. And we got on a FaceTime, and he basically told me, he's like, hey man, right off the bat, I'm 19 years old. And I hope that's not an issue, but basically I'm all in, and I can learn these songs in a week, and I can send you videos. And I was like, well, I don't care how old you are. You know what I mean? Like if you can shred this material and you can be there for us, like, let's do it. And yeah, long story short, we met 3 days before we went on that tour. We rehearsed 3 times, and then halfway through the tour, it obviously got canceled. And then he's from the States, so the borders are still closed as of now, so we haven't gotten to spend any time with him whatsoever. So we've been like the time will come, and we're going to have more time with him coming up really soon now that we're touring pretty quick, which we're really excited about. But at the same time, it's been hard to manage the whole he is involved but he's not, and we just need more time with him because with Bill, it was easy because we've known him for 10 years. There's nothing really to vet there. But with Zev, we just need to spend like more than 12 days together to make sure that this is the right fit, because there's a lot involved with bringing someone on board permanently,
Certainly is. Absolutely. Now, was the album, did you produce it yourself?
No. So Dan Bronstein produced it.
Okay.
He works out of the Hallway Studios in Los Angeles, and Dan's always at least mixed and mastered our stuff. And once we started releasing songs like Rule of Nines and Blessed Be, he was producing at that point, and we were going down to record with him as opposed to recording in my parents' basement and sending him the files.
Right.
And you can definitely tell a clear cut moment in time where we started doing that, because the quality improved significantly. But yeah, he produced Eternal Blue, and he did an amazing job. We're really excited about it.
Now, a song that really, I guess, caught my attention, I think a lot of people's attention at first, was Constance. I'm just going to throw it to you. Tell me about that song.
So Constance is something that came about in a very unfortunate way, but in kind of a really beautiful way as well. It's a song that we had instrumentally for quite a while. And unfortunately, last year in August, Courtney lost her grandmother. And she wasn't able to visit family. She wasn't able to, really have any closure or even go to the funeral. And we had put out Holy Roller before that, and we were like, we want to showcase another side of this record, so people just don't think that it's just heavy nonsense or whatever, start to finish. And, Courtney was just like, I feel like this is what I need right now. And I 100% agreed. And I thought, this would be a beautiful way to honor your grandmother. And it's such a terrible time in the world where I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to these words and, to what you're going through and your pain and everything. And, when we put it out, a part of us was like, I don't know how people are going to take the polar opposite side of us, where it's like we've presented this heavy stuff and now we're presenting something completely different. But yeah, to our surprise, it was, I think, Courtney kind of hit the nail on the head. There was just a lot of people, I feel like, that needed to hear that song and that needed to hear the message. And we're really thankful that our audience was, open to that and received it well. But ultimately as well, I'm just really happy that Courtney had that time to use that song as, almost like a bit of as much closure as you could have, and as much like help with mourning as you could possibly have too in that type of situation.
And it's such a powerful song too. It's just so sonic, and it just sort of envelopes you, man.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of different elements to heavy music, and I think, you can be heavy in a different way too. And there's no shame in crying or showing emotion from time to time. It's just being human, right? So
sure, it certainly is. Now the song "Circle with Me." Tell me about that one.
"Circle with Me" is definitely a little bit more of like a straightforward. This is us. With our like quote unquote anthemic song. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's one of my favorites off the record. I feel like it has a great momentum to it, and it has a great flow to it as well. And I think that it's weird because we haven't played any of these songs live, and even recently Courtney was practicing, and there's a line in it where she yells, "This could all be yours," right after the second chorus. Yeah. And she was like, "Do you think anyone's gonna yell that back at me? Like, do you think anyone's actually gonna know the words?" And I was like, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea, because we have no bass line, right? But right. That one in particular instrumentally is my favorite. And I think that Courtney's hooks in the verses are incredible. But basically, while we were recording, we needed an extra song, and I had these riffs laying around in the studio, and we put it together real quick. And I don't know, I just find that like the best attempts at writing songs, or the best songs, are made when you're not putting too much thought into it, you know what I mean? When you're not trying too hard. And that was definitely one of those where it just came about really quick. And I think now is probably one of our more popular ones. So yeah, we'll see how it goes live. It's going to be interesting to see.
The song that's really making the rounds right now, "Secret Garden." Of course, we're playing a lot of it too. That's getting a really great response. I love the riff in that. Tell me about that one.
Secret Garden, yeah, well, thank you. First off, I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, Secret Garden is one that we've had for a long time. When we put that song out, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that they're, trying to like be more radio rock, or they're trying to be more, like just mainstream, I guess you would call it." But the reality is that we had that song written before we had Holy Roller. Really? Yeah. It's there's some songs on this record that have that were written like a year and a half ago, close to 2 years ago, and then there's songs that were written December and February. Right. And so there's a variety, but that song in particular, it's always stuck out to me as one of like one of the first ones we wanted to put out, but also just one of like the hardest hitting, catchy songs on the record, just because of, just like the pop chorus kind of, and and also the side of it of like in the verses where you have those clean guitar passages. That's kind of a nod to our old material, because it is pretty complex. Like it doesn't sound too nuts, but when you actually break it down on the guitar, there's a lot of notes going on. So it's not just like a straightforward pop song, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. I think I'm really happy that it's out and people are receptive to it, because it's just a catchy song, and yeah, we're just excited about it.
Yeah, certainly. And you were talking about the sound, and that's one thing about the band is you've been called everything from progressive metal, you've been called gent, you've been called metalcore, and even other genres. Like, what are your thoughts on this labeling thing?
I don't know. For me personally, I feel like our band has always gone out of our way to not be concerned about the label and concerned about what people classify us, because, as I said before, it's like the goal has always just been, in the moment in time that we're writing or recording or whatever, it's just that we're making material that, that we enjoy, and that, that we're proud of, and that we're excited hearing back on the playback monitors, Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, my mentality has always been that, like, when the record's being made and when it's being mixed and all that stuff, and when I'm recording it or whatever, the record is ours. It's just this thing on our phone. It's just like this secret thing. But, the moment that we put it public and we put it out into the world, that then becomes the audience's. It's now theirs. So whatever people want to classify it, we're totally cool with it. You know what I mean? Because the lyrics are going to be interpreted individually. Everyone's going to think of it in their own way. So, if person A wants to classify it as metalcore, but person B wants to classify it as prog, it doesn't matter, because to me it's just metal. Yeah. It's just like it's rather metal or rock. I don't know. To me, there's no real difference.
It's hard to keep up.
Being 30, I feel like the old guy, man. Like I'm looking online on these subreddits. I'm looking at these people arguing with one another about genre classifications and stuff, and it just, to me, I'm just kind of like, I mean, you could just listen to the music and not care about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know.
It's concept.
Yeah. It's like, and it's funny because it's like, I feel like the people that listen to like, top 40 or any other genre or whatever, they're not like, when people are listening to like The Weeknd or something like that, they're not sitting there being like, no, this is like post pop, like they're just enjoying the music. So, and I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword, because the people that are really uptight about the genre and classifications and all that stuff, they also are just such dedicated fans, and they really
loyal.
care.
So loyal, yes.
So loyal. So, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that me personally, it's just kind of like, I'm making whatever, we're putting it out into the world, just say whatever it is, I don't really care, and hopefully you come watch us. That's about it.
Now, and I was talking about your guitar playing, just watching some of the stuff that you were doing online, man. Like, killer stuff. I mean, you seem to be a big 7-string player. Is that your weapon of choice, the 7 strings?
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where I do enjoy the thought of, playing an 8-string or something, and we play pretty close to an 8-string tuning, but I've just played 7 strings for such a long time that if I feel like, if I was to actually switch up permanently to an 8-string or something, it would really throw me off, and it'd be a learning curve, to say the least. So 7 strings are kind of just like my comfort zone, and I just really enjoy the feel of them.
Do you ever play 6-stringers anymore? Or is that like too basic for you?
Yeah, you know what? I do. I still do. I think it's important to have the variety, because, certain songs can be made on a 6, that you would have never thought to have made on a 7. It sounds weird, but like certain pieces of gear can inspire, whether it's just like a full song or even just a part or whatever. So I have different 6 strings around for inspiration, and I think maybe at one point, maybe we'll go back, but at the end of the day, we found that on the 7 string, being in this F sharp tuning, it's best for Courtney's tone of voice. It's, we can, like, the key of it is suitable for her and it's comfortable for her. So that's why we've been sticking to it for so long. And also it just sounds really aggressive. So that's another reason why.
You have a dynamic that it doesn't always work out with a lot of bands, but you and Courtney seem to make it work. How do you find the process of working and living with your partner?
The thing is like me and Courtney do literally everything together. Like even when we're not thinking about the band, which is 24/7, like, it was up until recently that we were still working at a job. And even then we worked at the same job. We worked in payroll at a hospital. And so, yeah, we're used to spending day in, day out with one another. And as far as like the creative aspect and stuff, there has been a learning curve of like, hey, if we're in a session or you're presenting an idea to me or something and it's not really working, and I'm like, hey, could we try something different or whatever? It's hard to not take that personally, like you're speaking to your partner. It's hard to have that removal of like, this is my bandmate talking now, as opposed to, my husband or wife or whatever.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, man, it's just the best. Like, it's crazy to me, the thought of like going on tour without my significant other now is such a bizarre concept. Yeah. And like so many musicians and stuff I see on tour, when we used to tour a lot, I'd see them on the phone 24/7 and they're going through, really rough times because they're away from their significant other, they're away from their families and stuff. And it's just such a blessing that I get to, I don't have to leave Courtney at home or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's definitely a huge positive for us for sure.
Now, what are the plans for the immediate future for SPIRITBOX? I mean, obviously the album's coming out in September. What else is going to be going on, Mike? What do you see happening with the band?
I think the band is just going to spend a lot of time touring. We spent majority of the beginning of the band's life just pushing things online and holding out on that aspect of it. So now it's time to kind of put pen to paper and show the proof of concept and go out and show people that we can actually play this stuff live.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So the record's going to come out September 17th, and I think, I really hope that people enjoy it. I hope it does well, and hopefully it can keep us on the road for a long time, because we're definitely overdue for some live shows, and we're really excited to get out there. So
awesome, Mike. Buddy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, and I'm sitting here waiting for you on the other side of the country.
Oh man, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we get to play for you very, very soon.
There he is, though. That is Mike Stringer from SPIRITBOX. The new album, Eternal Blue, drops September 17th. If you haven't checked out SPIRITBOX yet, I implore you, check this band out. They're fantastic. The band everybody's talking about right now in 2021. But it is Scott Penfold here with you on the Loaded Radio podcast. And as always, I'm now being joined by Johnny Rude from Loaded Radio. He's down there in Las Vegas, Nevada. And Johnny was recently at the Guns N' Roses concert at Allegiant Stadium, as it was the first official rock concert, I guess, to take place down there at Allegiant Stadium. So we'll talk about that, and as well, we'll talk about the week that was in hard rock and metal. Johnny, what's going on, buddy?
I just got in, and I'm having one of these, Scott.
What would that be?
It's called a Bud Light.
Good stuff. How was Guns N' Roses, though? I wanted to ask about Allegiant.
Well, Guns N' Roses was Friday night. I'll be honest with you, I was kind of dreading it since I got tickets for it. Yeah. For various reasons. As much as I was so excited to see the show and Wolfgang Van Halen on the bill, etc. It's just, obviously the COVID thing and the rules and regulations to get into the place. If you go and see a Raiders game, you've got to be vaccinated. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You've got to show your proof, etc. This show got announced before they implemented all those rules. So the only rule they had was you got to wear a mask to get in.
Right.
And as soon as you get in, the masks are gone.
Yeah, I figured.
100%, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. It's a massive venue. It is cool as shit, dude.
Yeah.
I went to Caesar's Palace, parked my car there, and we left from Caesar's Palace. And it is a nightmare to get into this joint, dude. They shut everything. Anytime there's an event, they shut all the roads around it, like by Mandalay Bay. In and out. It's a nightmare. So this cab guy, we hopped in a cab, and he goes, "Where are you guys going?" We said to Allegiant Stadium, and he goes, "Oh no."
Right.
Because he's been there. Obviously they've had, Garth Brooks was the first show. Then they've had a soccer game and some EDM fest. This was the first live rock and roll band ever to play. So again, that's kind of neat. Some history going on there. All the rules and regulations, you got to have a clear bag. For girls, you've got to have a certain size purse. And if it's not that size, you can't bring it in. It's a nightmare on that level. Basically, come in with nothing but your ID, nothing else, dude. Oh, and a credit card, because there's no cash. They do not exchange cash money. It's all cards, right? Which I think is cool. I haven't used cash in I don't know how long, anyways. So we get in. Dude, it is so badass. It's super history. It's this cool historic venue now. And when the pandemic was going on, I would drive around and park my car in the parking lot and just take pictures of the place. Anyone could go in there, but it was a ghost town. There was no security. There was nothing. It was just ghost town. So it was kind of cool to say, hey man, look at here. I'm parked right in front of the entrance. So we go in. And the vibe is really cool. Everyone's excited. It's, we get there relatively early. We were meeting friends. They were there earlier so they could walk around the whole place and really check it out. So we get to our seats, half decent, not bad seats. And we're waiting and stuff. And I'm looking around. It's monstrous, dude. I think it holds 65 or 70,000 people. Mm. It's state of the art. The grass that they have, they roll it in and roll it out on a conveyor belt. For every game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So obviously it's a concrete floor, but I'd heard some horror stories for the Garth Brooks show. The sound was horrendous. And you think that guy, he's a multi-bazillionaire, multi-selling bazillion artist. He would have it together, but apparently it sounded like hell. So I was expecting it to sound bad. So Wolfgang comes on, Mammoth, WVH, and he was killer, dude.
Yeah.
Just he fucked. I mean, sings great. The band's great. They got Frank Sidoris in the band. He's from Slash's band. He's a Vegas guy. He was in the band. Just really cool production show. Just the big screen so you could see Wolfie.
Yeah, the footage I've seen of his band and him playing. I mean, he's amazing. He's phenomenal. And it's I know there's been a lot of heat on him. People saying, "Oh, you should be playing with your father's material and shit." No, fuck that. I think that he does great on his own. And I agree. Ride your own thing there, buddy, because you're doing great.
And his dad told him the same thing. Do you, buddy? I did me growing up. I didn't play the music from my homeland. You're not playing Van Halen. That's 40 years ago. Yeah.
Stop asking Wolfgang to play fucking Panama or Hot for Teacher or fucking Eruption. It's just let it go.
Lose it.
Yeah.
Lose it. I think it's ridiculous. I didn't hear too much of that. I mean, people saying that, again, social media, I'm not on there that often, but, I didn't know much about what he was going to play. I've only heard the single and, oh my God, dude, every song, it's great. Killer. He sings amazing. He plays great, effortless. Again, he toured with Van Halen in 2007 when he was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah,
he's a pro already, bro. He's in there. So they went right on at 7, played for about 40 minutes. Excellent. Fantastic. Just the vibe. Again, this was the first show I'd seen in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So the vibe was cool. I'm going, okay, is Guns N' Roses going to be on time? Who knows? But sure enough, dude, about 8:00, 8:02, they came on, and it was the opening, I guess, monologue, whatever you want to call it, the video screens doing their stuff. And it was cool. And I'm going, okay, this is all right. This is neat. Nothing new and exciting. There's no fire breathing dragons up there. But again, state of the art stuff in 2021. They killed it, dude. I'm trying to think.
Did Steven Adler make an appearance at all?
Oh God, no. He's in LA smoking a joint somewhere, buddy.
Right. Yeah. He's playing drums for AJ. Yeah.
Yeah. Or AJ's playing drums for him. But no, there's no Steven Adler. nobody. I mean, no, they don't even talk about that. Well, he was making appearances with them on the last tour they were doing. So, it was kind of there. I guess there was some people wondering maybe even Izzy Stradlin will show up or something. But no, nothing like that. Again, the COVID rules took over, so there was no backstage. It was just the show, and that's it. It's a killer stadium, dude. I mean, it's awesome. And here's the kicker. It sounded good. I was expecting it to sound like it sounded good. Axl is kind of Mr. Falsetto now. He's not the aggressive singer. He was obviously when he was 22 to 25, whatever, back in the 80s and 90s. But it was good. But the band on fire sounded great. Just simple, drums, bass, guitar. They had a couple of keyboard players. They had Dizzy Reed, and they had this girl playing keys too.
Yeah.
But it sounded the band sounded fantastic, bro. And all the special effects, again, nothing really, just a stage and just the big TV monitors, man, because they looked like ants. If, where we were sitting, we had pretty good seats, but still, you can't really see anything. But in this day and age, I think back to when I would see Kiss or Halen or Aerosmith back in the 70s. And there was nothing like that. It was just a band on stage and a massive light show. No pyro or anything. But I would think back to these shows and, oh my God, there was no special effects. There were no big TV monitors behind you, screens. You just look at the band. And I feel bad. There were people. This stadium is massive, dude. Up at the top, I don't even know how 100 feet in the air it looks like. They were specs, but thank God they had the big monitors on stage so you could see them. But yeah, I was reflecting back going, God, when I saw Kiss, what was I watching? Or Halen, or like I said, or Aerosmith, or whoever. So it was interesting to see that and think about that. But they kicked ass, dude. They played for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. I saw Guns N' Roses back in, I think it would have been 1991, 92 when they toured with Metallica and Faith No More. And I saw them in Toronto. And I think that's the only time I saw Guns N' Roses. Do I feel like I'd love to jump out there and, drop, I don't know what, $200, whatever, on a ticket to go and see them again? Not really. I'm not that much of a fan, but I think it's cool that they're out there touring again,
I agree. I saw them, believe it or not, at the Verdun Arena in Montreal in 1987. They were opening for the Cult. No one knew who the hell these guys were. I did. I got back from LA. I knew all about them, but I got there. But dude, I took my brother and we sat there and looked at each other and went, oh my God, these guys are amazing. They blew the Cult off the stage. I went back to the hotel room. And I, obviously no cell phones or anything like that. I phoned a couple of friends using the regular telephone in the hotel and said, you got to go tomorrow. I forget where they were playing, but Maple Leaf Gardens, it could have been, go see the Cult, but go for the opening band. They were phenomenal back then. And then I saw them open for Iron Maiden in 88 at the C&E, the grandstand. And I had all access passes back then. And one of my bands, we had dancers, and I'm back there after they played. I had front row. It was me, Mikey, and my buddy Jeff. Front row, I stood up and Steven Adler gave me his drumsticks. I was the only dude standing for these guys because they still hadn't broken. Even in 88, Sweet Child of Mine was still trying to get legs. Yeah. And it was Zodiac Mime Warp was on. Zodiac Mime Warp and Love Reaction, yep. Guns N' Roses, and then Iron Maiden.
Nice. That would have been great.
Oh, I remember going backstage, buddy. Really quick story. I've told you this one. Aaron Everly was back there. He was dating.
Yeah. You told me the story.
And she's going on, and they were going to Calgary. And she goes, I'm not on the tour bus. I'm not going on the bus. And he comes off, and Axl Rose comes in. He's yelling and screaming at her. She's crying, and he's drinking a Molson Canadian. He rifles it against the side of the tour bus in a fit of rage. And Duff's there. Slash is hanging out with one of my dancers from my band. He's on a chair. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it looked pretty obvious.
I could take a wild guess.
Yeah. And so tour manager comes out. I knew this guy too. Scotty something, I think, was their tour manager at the time. I'm not 100% sure. He grabs, all I hear was, oh my God, he's off the bus. He grabs him, carries him, brings him on the bus, and locks the door. And Erin Everly and her girlfriend she's crying, and she goes, fuck you. I'm not going on the bus with you. They were flying to Calgary. They didn't want to go on the bus for 30 hours. So that's that again, 1988, man, they were breaking, and they were still kind of becoming the hottest band on the planet at that point. And then Maiden played, and I got trapped in the front row seat because I went back to watch the show and I couldn't move. But that was amazing too.
But moving on from Guns N' Roses, though, I don't know if you heard about this yet, but the passing of a legendary drummer, Iron Butterfly drummer Ron Bushy, passed away at the age of 79 today. It was just announced. This guy, I think, really an unsung hero when it came to drummers, because one of the first awesome, epic drum solos was this guy in In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I didn't know he passed, but interesting. But yeah, that song, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, that's like a 20 minute epic song. And people used to kind of joke about it, but it's history. That song is a historic tune.
It is. It's a killer tune, man. 1968 that came out. It was off their second album. It was actually the title track. And I remember hearing that the first time on vinyl and just like it just kept going and going and going. I mean, I may have been smoking some shit. There may have been something going on.
Sure.
But but it's certainly, it was almost like the rhythmic, beats of what he's doing in that tune, just synced up so well with what I had just smoked. You know what I mean? And it was just something so epic. It was just such a great experience listening to that solo. But yeah, certainly going to be missed though. Legendary drummer, I think, and again, an unsung hero of a drummer, Ron Bushy from Iron Butterfly. Passing away after a battle with esophageal cancer,
right?
Which is really too bad. Iron Butterfly is one of those bands that they've had like weird shit happen to them. They had the guitarist Larry Rhino Reinhardt. He passed away back in 2012, but it was bassist Lee Dorman. He passed away that same year. But I mean, his body I think went missing for like 6 years, and then eventually they found him 6 years later. I think at the bottom of a lake in a car or something. So there was some sketchiness around his death. I mean, the band has seen some strange stories, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think again, the Spinal Tap, I mean, not that they were a reference to that, but I'm sure they experienced everything that movie encompassed in a sense. Yeah. One of the first bands to be like that, a metal band. Again, talking about epic drummers, I think, we should take note on this one. Epic drummer being Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones.
Yes, that's right.
Him passing away too. Again, he was 80. And you and I talked about this earlier when it happened. What a life this guy had. He was married for 60 years. I don't think a lot of people knew that, but he was married for 60 years, has a daughter. And all he wanted to do, he even said, I was reading an article about it. He loved playing drums for Mick and Keith and Ron and whoever was in the band, but he was just a drummer. He goes, I just wanted to be a drummer. His wife loved the music. She would play records at home, but he never played it, never listened to it. He just drummed. And he wasn't a rock star. He goes, I don't want to be a rock star. I'm not a rock star. He goes, let Keith and Mick Jagger, let them do all the stupid shit. I'm going to kick back here and just enjoy my life and chill. And they call me when they want to record, when we want to tour. I'm here. I'm a drummer. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, you know what? One thing that a lot of people I find have been talking about since his passing, I mean, and everybody's been coming out of the woodwork when it comes to Charlie Watts, of course. I mean, the amount of respect, the accolades coming from just people right across the musical industry. But really one thing that I think that is really being brought up quite commonly when it comes to Charlie is that he was an underrated drummer, which is one thing that, and I used to believe that, when you compare drummers, I think, John Bonham, the smoking drummer, Keith Moon, smoking drummer, they smoke Charlie Watts. Charlie, I guess maybe it's my age. The older I get, the more mature I get. But Charlie was like, he was a mathematician. What he did, he was so pocket. He was perfect, man. You know what I mean?
Totally.
He was textbook.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you play for the music. And he played drums for that music. He grew up in an era that drumming style fit. Now, again, we're going to go Joey Jordison, who passed away. A lot of drummers have passed away. Listen, his era plays like that. Neil Peart from Rush, another genius. You play for the music. Charlie Watts is not going to be, a progressive rock drummer like Bill Bruford playing Stones tunes. Right. So he played for the Stones and solid. Then they relied on him. And that, that's the thing with the drummer. You keep the time. You are the metronome. You're the heartbeat of the band. And that's what Charlie Watts was, man. Interesting life. He said his wife saved his life. He was addicted to speed and heroin at the same time. And she was the one who got him off it. So he owes a lot of gratitude, and that's what kept him sane. The guys in every rock band has a rule: no wives, no girlfriends on the road. Yeah. But he brought his wife and then eventually his daughter on the road, and that's what kept him, ticking in a sense, or he would have been off the deep end. But as a drummer, absolutely, dude. He was a jazz bow guy, that the Beatles era, even before that, he was in a bunch of bands and he knew everybody. He was the oldest guy in the Stones. He was elder. Yep. So a lot of respect for him from the guys too over the years. But again, it's the drummers. We've been talking about these drummers passing away. But he had a great life, dude. 80 years old, did everything anyone could do on the planet, being in that band, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Just I guess not a good week for drummers, so in especially classic rock. So I guess another tragedy, I guess you could say, another thing that happened today is Rammstein frontman Till Lindemann was detained and questioned by Russian authorities. Looks like this happened yesterday. The police were moving the singer from his hotel room and taking him down to a local station. Now, this is according to Summer Inferno. They report that he was scheduled to perform with his band at the McLaren for Homeland Festival. And this was in Russia, of course. And it's believed that his detention was related to current COVID-19 restrictions surrounding mass gatherings in Russia. So that's why he was brought in. It was nothing to do with that whole NFT thing that he was doing. But it looks like his manager, though, he's in some hot water for apparently declaring himself a tourist when he entered the country. But he was actually a festival organizer, and he could look at some deportation and permanent ban from Russia. So, yeah, things kind of sticky for the Rammstein lead singer right now.
Right. And I guess what were they doing? Basically, misleading the authorities over there of what they were doing, I suppose so. I mean, I think they didn't really get into too much detail about the COVID-19 restrictions and why he's being held responsible. But for sure, his manager is in he's in a little bit of a sticky situation there because he lied. Wow. You don't want to do that. Maybe lie. No, not in Russia. I don't think you want to lie to any Russians at all. No, no, especially if you're over there. Yeah. So,
but that's what's happening with him. Also, the new Kanye West album was apparently co-written by Marilyn Manson. That's
what? Yeah. I haven't read that. What's that about?
Did you really you want to talk about this? I guess we can talk about it.
I don't. You started, and I got an opinion on everything. So yeah.
well, Kanye West has got a new album out now. It's called Donda, and apparently it features some creative input from Marilyn Manson. Earlier this week, a spokesperson for Manson confirmed that he would be involved with Kanye's new album. He told Newsweek Marilyn Manson's voice is featured on Donda, and he will continue to conceptually collaborate on the Donda project. So there's a new song out called Jail. You can listen to it at loaderradio.com. Manson doesn't sing on it, but he did co-write it with Kanye. So
what does it sound like? Have you listened to it?
Yeah, it's you know what? It's not awful, but it's Kanye West. I mean,
yeah, because I'm not a fan of that guy. I believe it or not, I saw Kanye West a few years ago. I went to the Billboard Music Awards out here. Yeah, and it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, again, this guy thinks, he's Yeezus or whatever he calls himself. The guy's a lunatic, buddy. On all that whole politics, he was running for the president. I mean, he's, to me, and again, my opinion here, talentless. He can't sing, he can't do anything, but apparently he's a genius in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I have not read up what he does or anything, but I'm just saying my personal opinion. The guy is absolutely useless. And if
he's a genius at controversy, he just had Marilyn Manson appear at his listening event in Chicago when, Marilyn Manson's going through this whole thing with all these women coming forward. Oh,
that's a nightmare too. Why would you tag yourself with that guy? That's another stupid
because
move.
He just loves the controversy. Yeah. That's what he wants. They had a listening party. Kanye-versy. They had a listening party, took place in Chicago for this Donda album, apparently. And this is what I'm saying about Kanye. He likes the controversy. He had Manson appear with him, but as well, he also had another rapper appear with him, a guy by the name of fellow rapper Da Baby, who is also he's been getting in a lot of shit lately because apparently he's about stuff with women that he's doing. So
cool.
Yeah, both of these guys appear with him at this listening event. He just likes to piss people off because he's the greatest. That's
well. Again, it's ridiculous.
Cazares from Fear Factory. He's out on the road with Soulfly right now. He's playing guitar for Soulfly. Mark Rizzo is no longer a part of Soulfly. He's apparently something went down there. He has a bone of contention with Max. I don't know what happened there, but it's not good. They're sort of throwing some spit at each other in the media right now. But nonetheless, though, he is on the road now with Soulfly. He's playing guitar for them. And it's really cool because at the show that they had in St. Louis just the other night, they were playing Soulfly. And at the very end, they actually played a Fear Factory tune as they pulled out
Manufacturer?
They pulled out Replica, actually.
Oh, that Replica is great. And
it was mint, dude. And Max Cavalera sang it. It sounds great. Wow. You can see that at loadradio.com. Hey, you know what? Don't forget, go to loadradio.com right now. You still got time to get in your vote for your favorite, your top female-fronted hard rock or metal band, as we're tabulating the top 13 right now, John, as you know.
I think it's awesome, buddy.
Yes. And, like some of the bands there, of course, the bands like Hailstorm, Nightwish, Arch Enemy, In This Moment. We've even got Girl School in there, John. Remember them?
Oh, yeah. And I told you we opened for them years ago, dude. Yeah. Really cool stuff, man. They did a great version of 20th Century Boy.
That T-Rex tune. Yeah.
Yeah. Killer version of that.
So, yeah, get your vote in now. Loadradio.com. That's where you want to go. And I think it's just a few more weeks. Johnny and I will go over the results of that as to who you voted are the top 13 female-fronted metal bands of all time. Also coming up in the stream, we've mentioned this before, there's a lot of changes going to be happening on the online radio station, and those are very exciting. Of course, for one thing we're going to a cloud-based system, which is just going to be awesome. So it's going to be nothing but enhanced everything for you listening at home. And of course, don't forget, download the Loaded Radio app, because it's there, it's free, and it's available to you right now. And you can get a hold of any of us through that there too and listen to
Absolutely. I sorry to step on you here, but I actually, I was out today and I got a few friends that downloaded and started blasting it at the restaurant I was in today. So yeah, it was cool, dude. Download that stuff. It's awesome.
And coming up, we have a new feature happening. Johnny's going to be doing a new feature. It's almost like a show, John.
It is. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's New Metal Mondays with Johnny Rude, exclusively on the stream at loadradio.com. It's going to be Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and as well during the day. We're not really sure what time yet. We're working that out. So, but it's going to be really cool because it's going to be Johnny bringing out the freshest, bloodiest cuts of metal.
The coolest shit, whether it's heavy, it's just something cool. If it's heavy, bloody, doom, anything. But if I think it's cool, I want you guys to hear it. And feedback's always cool as well. But that's what I'm going to be doing every Monday. New Metal Mondays, man. My favorite tracks, and hopefully some of yours.
Awesome. So yes, you can always get more info again at loadradio.com. And a special thanks going out to Mike Stringer from SPIRITBOX for joining us on the Loaded Radio podcast this week as well to talk about Eternal Blue, which drops September 17th. We'll talk to you next week right here on the Loaded Radio podcast.
Loaded Radio.